When Cougar Energy was forced to stop a pilot project at Kingaroy, shareholders were confronted by financial losses. Some of them blame hysterical reporting for the government's decision to shut them down. They say they invested in Cougar's underground coal gasification scheme because it was cutting edge. But as Kathy McLeish reports, there have been no winners from this investment.
When we see that starting to disappear, start to pull that down and go, I think we'll relax,
The Queensland Government does have a problem on its hands up in Kingaroy.
The department and ministers involved have said that there are learnings for the government in order to ensure we get that regulation right.
The saga of Cougar Energy's underground coal gasification plant at Kingaroy has turned out to be a sorry and costly affair for all involved.
It's been a particularly stressful experience for the whole family and hasn't been enjoyable one little bit. I suppose the thing that really annoys us is we've got a company in this situation that refuses to take responsibility for the damage it's caused and the problem it's caused in the local community.
If decisions aren't based on fact, if surety can't be provided for investment, it would put it sends a message. It sends a message that perhaps those sorts of industries, that sort of investment, perhaps that's not. It doesn't have a sound basis in Queensland.
Shareholders in Cougar Energy say they have lost $25 million. They thought they were making a prudent investment for their futures and for the future of clean green energy.
For me, it was the opportunity to be involved in what I feel was an ethical investment. Again, I say with very strong green credentials in terms of electricity production. Certainly a significant improvement on what can be produced from a conventional coal-fired power station.
The state government has shut down an experimental underground
Shareholders
coal
say media
gasification
coverage of the
project in
contamination scare made sure Cougar and its shareholders never stood a chance of making the project work. One group of concerned shareholders wrote to the media, claiming grossly unfair treatment of the company.
As investors, we've seen a case presented against Cougar that hasn't been founded, or hasn't been found to be the case, and I would really like to see transparency.
But it was more than media coverage that went against the project. The chemicals benzene and toluene were found in water bores near the Cougar well, and once that made headlines, the government was clearly nervous.
This is an industry that we would like to see succeed. It can't come at any cost.
In the first weeks of operation, the Cougar well registered a reading of benzene and toluene at 84 parts per billion, which was confirmed as an erroneous lab result. But there was a delay of several weeks before it was reported to the Department of Environment and Resource Management. Cougar says that was because the data had to be analysed. Later, traces of those chemicals were found again, at up to 2 parts per billion in 2 bores on Cougar's land. The Australian allowable standard for drinking water is 1 part per billion, and those chemicals can occur naturally in the environment. Local farmers became even more nervous about the risk to their own clean green image.
We weren't happy about this UCG plant right from the start because we were always worried about drilling holes and contaminating the water supplies.
This should have never been allowed to start in the first place. When you look at the geography of the place and the volcanic region, a disaster was always going to happen. But I thought we might have to wait 2 years to see it.
An independent report backed the concerns. It said the site was not optimal for UCG. There was insufficient risk management, and that in all 3 UCG projects in Queensland, more attention should have been given to obtaining better baseline data. That would show the original water and soil makeup and any changes to it.
Had Cougar's operations caused material and environmental damage, were there traceable results that sort of confirmed all that, I'd have to cop it on the chin, and there would have to be consideration of that. But in the absence of any facts, any test results that validate that there has been contamination, it's hard to know what to tell or what to say to the people of Queensland. It's just wrong.
Cougar Energy's Managing Director, Dr Len Walker, says he ran a successful 3-year operation at Chinchilla before Kingaroy. He says the company's baseline data and the site it chose was appropriate.
The fact that no farmers' bores have recorded any contaminants at all, and the fact that we were shut down on the basis of a false reading which we gave to the department in good faith and subsequently confirmed was false. For all of those reasons, one can't help but feel it has been an extremely difficult path to present facts when there is so much emotion around the discussion.
He says there should have been a UCG expert on the independent panel.
At those very, very low levels of measurement, there can be a variety of factors other than what's in the ground that might cause them, such as sampling and testing procedures, which are factors that other parties have claimed which have been accepted.
The government says it had no choice but to stop the Kingaroy project.
The company could not put forward sufficient evidence to show that they knew what happened in that incident, that they knew what had caused the groundwater contamination that did occur, that they were even fully aware of the full environmental extent of contamination. And we went through a process where we rejected 2 out of the 3 reports they provided because there just wasn't compelling evidence in those reports. They were given multiple opportunities to submit additional information before we came to our final conclusion that we didn't have confidence the project could be recommissioned. So we haven't come to this decision lightly, but the key issue is that the onus of proof has to be on a proponent to show they can operate without causing environmental harm, or they won't be allowed to proceed.
The government has been under fire from local communities for allowing this project and others like it. And the independent panel found it could have done better.
This exercise shows that we need to tighten the monitoring framework around this sort of technology, and that's what we've done.
And the future of the plant now rests with the government.